Hi, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and today I'm sharing the third and final experiment where I'm trying to get ink off of some old school notes that I have so that I can use them in my junk journal or other art projects. The first two experiments, we used a coffee bath and then some isopropyl alcohol. But I'd heard a lot about using acetone and that it's non-destructive and works really well, so I thought I'd give it a go.
All right, so for this last experiment, I've come outside because I'm going to be trying some acetone. This is just nail polish remover that I got at the dollar store. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to work on this one. This pen came off just pretty well just with the coffee dye. I'm going to try some of the pencil. I don't know if it'll work on that or not. And I'm going to try it on this pen, both a blue and a black pen, and see if it works on those. And then of course I'll try it with, you know, this newer pens to see if it works on any of those. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to try to work quickly because I'm pretty sure these gloves are going to dissolve in the acetone. But let's see. I'm just going to make a bath. Oh, it's not working really as quickly as I had anticipated it would. Huh. Interesting. Doesn't seem to be doing much with that one actually. All right, give me a pencil. Try it on this pen. I'm gonna go ahead and just put them in here and see what happens. All right, I see things are starting to dissolve a little bit. Here's these pens. Rub them a little bit. I don't know how long I've got to let them soak. I can see that ink is starting to come off. But not sure what that's coming from exactly. And then I thought I'd try this one as well. This is just some notes. I guess it's printed from a toner cartridge of some sort. All right. I guess I'll let those soak for a little bit. I thought it would work quicker than that, but all right. I'm going to cover that and I will let them soak and I'll come back. Okay, so I can see that this is working. But it's definitely not working as quickly as I had thought it would. You can tell that the ink is bleeding. It's even working on this copy. Oh wow, it's done some, transferred some here. So you can see it is working. I don't know if you really should do these one at a time, and it's definitely taking longer than I thought it would. Maybe if I had two of the nail polish removers, but I only had one in my stash. So I'm gonna try using a little bit of this. I just happen to have this acetone. It's for a home project we were working on. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this to see if, you know, putting a little bit more helps. I don't really want to, you know, I don't want to have a lot of acetone left over here. Let's see what these are doing. Yeah, some of these are not working and some of them are working. You can kind of see which ones are working. So that's really interesting. What's really interesting to me is that this one doesn't really seem to be having doesn't seem to be having much of an effect on that one. So that's kind of interesting to me. So yeah, I mean, it is working. Maybe not as dramatically as I had hoped that it would work, or had anticipated that it would work, but it is working. And you are getting some of that blue, which is kind of cool. I mean, the whole point of this is I kind of wanted some of that blue to transfer and get some interesting colors on that. This is the pencil. It doesn't seem to be doing anything on the pencil. And let's see. Whatever this black pen is, it doesn't seem to be working on that either. So, interesting. All right, I'm going to let it soak for just a little bit longer. Take off these gloves because they're kind of disintegrating at the fingertips. Okay, so it's been about a half an hour total since I left these to soak. Let's see. Take most of these out and then maybe just go through one at a time and see if that makes any difference. Well, it looks like it's definitely lightened it up. Not as much as I had anticipated it would, but definitely has lightened it up. It's also taken the lines off of it. I think it was more efficient at taking the lines off than taking the pen off. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And it's interesting because the paper is not it's not like using water. It definitely hasn't made it tear easily or anything. So that's kind of interesting. And I'm just going to go through and kind of wipe this down and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. Let's see, this has a lot of blue. I'm glad I did this outside because it is kind of a strong chemical odor. And you can be, I guess, a little bit aggressive with this because this is not like soaking it in water. It doesn't feel fragile at all. Okay. Now this one's the pencil. You can see as this starts to dry, it lightened it, but not so much. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, this pencil doesn't seem to be affected pretty much at all. I'm assuming this is a laser printer because I'm not sure that inkjet printers were that common back then. All right, here's all the various different types of ink. The modern pens, you can see what it's done with those. Yeah, this really doesn't seem to be as effective as I thought it would be. It definitely is taking some ink off, but it's not, making it super duper light. So that's a little bit disappointing.
So this is a full page of that ink that was colorful, the blue and the green, that dissolved fully in the coffee bath. However, it didn't seem to be affected at all by the acetone. It didn't lighten it, it didn't dissolve it. And in places where I had a combination of the dark blue ink and these colorful inks, you can still see that these colorful inks showed up pretty clearly. Interestingly, we did get a transfer of that laser printer onto this page with acetone, so that's kind of a fun result.
Doesn't look like it's doing anything on this black one. Okay, so here are the results from this acetone experiment. This is kind of interesting. You can see some of them did work. The Bic round stick seemed to work really well. Z-grip somewhat. Pilot easy touch somewhat. Even the Pentel RSVP worked a little bit. And then whatever this random ink pen worked somewhat. But it looked like all of the ones that were gel pens didn't work very well, except for maybe this. The Pilot G2 had a little bit. A lot of this pen that's transferred came from some of these other papers. So, yeah. Interesting. It doesn't really, they don't smell anymore. So that's kind of interesting. You can still see the lines on this one, but it didn't really lighten it all that much. So that's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, this one's really interesting in that it got that transfer of that copy, whatever ink was used on that copy. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an inkjet printer. It was either a laser printer or like a commercial printer. But yeah, this didn't work at all. It did take all the lines off of it, so that's kind of interesting. Off of that one anyway. Yeah, it lightened this one somewhat, but not a ton. Didn't seem to have much effect at all on this black pen, whatever that one was. And again, this one was a little bit lighter, but not a ton. This one it seemed to work on pretty well.
Except the areas where I used that colorful pen.
But yeah, I have no idea which one that is, unfortunately. Seemed to work pretty well on this one. I dripped some of the excess ink on there just, so it wouldn't be wasted. Because my point was I was trying to get some of that blue to show up on the paper. Because I thought that would be kind of cool. But this one, it definitely lightened quite a bit. The pencil, it did not seem to do anything to. Surprisingly, it did kind of work on this paper. It did seem to work on the blue on this one, not so much on this black one. And it took the lines off of this one as well. Excuse the planes. We live near a naval base, or a Marine Corps base now, so it's call it the sound of freedom. So that's the planes flying by. But anyway, so that's what we got out of the acetone. So I'm gonna now that it's dry, I'm going to coffee dye it or. Okay, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and put these papers that had been in the acetone in here, just so that we can get a good comparison amongst the different methods. So they're all kind of coffee dyed, and you can kind of see what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm going to dry them outside, not in the oven.
So interestingly, the page that used the colorful ink that dissolved really well in coffee is now dissolving now that we're putting it in coffee, even though it had been previously soaked in acetone. So that's pretty cool and an interesting result.
All right, so here's the acetone. And I didn't do a ton of acetone, I have to say. And I was surprised that it didn't take more off than it did. I mean, it certainly took a lot off. Yeah, you kind of get, it also took off the lines off the pen like the isopropyl alcohol. And you can see this. But, you know, yeah, you can see it didn't take everything off of everything. So, yeah, I'm gonna use this one, put this one on a mat. I did not dry these in the oven. I just dried them outside. So some of the transfers are a little lighter. Yeah, so see, you can still see a little bit of the writing there, but you still get, you know, some really beautiful results. So I'm just going to quickly go through the rest of the results from using acetone. I'm going to have a detailed video of all the results from all 3 experiments in a final wrap-up video, which will come in a couple days. So be on the lookout for that. I will have links to the previous 2 videos that where I experimented with just coffee dye and where I experimented with alcohol, and you can see the differences between the 3. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think this has been, you know, kind of a fun way to repurpose some old school notes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of these results. Leave a comment below, and if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe to my channel. Again, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and craft on.